What if I told you that before you even start the engine, there's one checklist that decides whether, well, is my airplane actually legal to fly? Can I go at all? Got to check your documentation first. So that's what we're going to talk about in this video is airplane documents. I'm Steven. If you're new to the channel, I'm a CFI out of the Rochester, Minnesota airport, Rochester International Airport. On this channel, Right Seat Reports, I share lessons, insights, and real-world aviation experiences to help student pilots and aspiring professionals navigate the world of flight. Today we're going to be talking about exactly what I said. We're going to talk about this aero checklist, aka the required aircraft documents that a pilot needs on board before every flight. If you're a student pilot, checkride prepping, or just aviation curious, well, you're in the right seat. So what exactly is aero? Okay, I mentioned that acronym, and well, simply put, aero is a simple acronym we use as pilots to remember all the documents that are required to be on board the aircraft. This isn't just a checkride thing. This is a real world flying. This is something that you need to check every single time you go up and fly. So, aero, what exactly is it? Aero, spelled A-R-R-O-N-W. So, what exactly does it stand for? Okay, first one, you're going to talk about airworthiness certificate. Okay, what is the airworthiness certificate? Basically, it tells us the FAA considers this aircraft safe to operate. Another way to put airworthiness certificate is, it is the airplane's birth certificate. Once the plane is completely done with being built, verified by the FAA, it is issued a birth certificate. It is established on this date. It tells what category it's in, what you can do in the aircraft. Okay, this is issued by the FAA, Federal Aviation Association. Okay, something to think about is it must be visible to passengers. You must have it in sight of people getting on board. Has to be the original certificate, and it has to be displayed so passengers can see it. If it's missing or invalid, the airplane doesn't fly. Here's one thing about it. It never expires. Could become invalid if the plane is not kept airworthy or kept up with maintenance for short. Okay, basically think about it as, I don't think this plane is worthy of flying. Okay, if it's not maintained well, it probably doesn't look like it's maintained well, it's probably not worth going up in the air. It has some risks. So, airworthiness certificate is exactly what you're going to need in your aircraft. R, registration. Registration, okay? Aircraft registration, basically meaning proof of what? Ownership. We own this plane. It must be current. If the registration is expired, just like your car, that airplane is not legal to fly. A car is not legal to drive on the roads unless you pay for your registration. Okay, in the U.S., you have 2 registrations. This could also be dependent on where you live, but you have a federal, which is 7 years. State. In my state of Minnesota, we get 1 year. Then you need to renew it every single year thereafter. So, just like a car, Minnesota, it's every year you need to renew. Next one, this trips people up a little bit, but we are talking about our radio license. Okay, trips people up because a radio license is not required for domestic flights in the U.S. aka going point A to point B, you're going west coast to east coast, or you're just staying, for me, within the state of Minnesota. You don't require a radio license. Okay, it is for international operations. Okay, plain and simple. If you're going international, you need it. If you're domestic, you don't need it at all. Plain and simple. Oh, now we're talking about, well, operating limitations. Everything has its own limitations. Okay, operating limitations tell us how the airplane is allowed to be flown. Acrobatic, normal transport, etc. Those types things are what our operating limitations are. You would get this. Let me write it down first. Operating Operating limitations, you get this from your pilot's, your plane's operating handbook, your POH, or airplane flight manual, AFM. It's going to tell you exactly what you're limited to. You're going to talk about in here what your CG is, what your airspeed limitations are. That's going to be in your POH. Otherwise, another option of legal operating limitations are your placards. You know, you're at the airlines, or you're flying in a plane and they tell you must comply with all posted placards and signage while you are a passenger on the plane. That's what this is. Okay, we must obey the placards and the signs that are within the plane. Placards and markings. Okay, cockpit placards are required markings. You must have them, and they are legally enforceable. If they're listed on there, you must follow them. And finally, we've got one more W, that is our weight and balance. Okay, if you remember this box, if you are involved in aviation at all, you kind of have a box that looks like this. You may, when you pre-flight, you get a box that ends up having a dot in it somewhere, and you've got a pre-takeoff, you've got a post-landing, or you've got a landing dot, etc., telling us if we are in limits within our aircraft. Airplane must be operated within its limits. Just because the plane can take off doesn't mean it's legal or safe. If we have a CG, center of gravity, that is more towards the tail, we have some limitations and potential hazards that we have in flight. Same thing with having our center of gravity being way too far forward towards the nose. So those are things to think about. Okay, we need to have a weight and balance. And specifically what it's talking about is weight and balance done by maintenance. No fuel is within. It's your basic empty weight. Basically, it's everything but the fuel, but it's usable fuel, etc. All the gear that's within it is balanced by a maintenance professional and is adjusted for you to perform your weight and balance calculations when you do go fly. Those are going to be your aero. That's your aero. Airworthiness, registration, radio license, operating limitations, and weight and balance. Those are going to be the things that you're going to need to know. Okay, so now how do we use this aero in real life? Well, this checklist takes less than a minute, but skipping it can ground an airplane instantly. Before every flight, ask yourself one simple question: do I have everything required on board for the airplane to legally fly? That is something that we really need to consider. If we don't have all of our documents, we probably shouldn't be going up. Kind of like you not having your pilot license. That'd be something that I'd be really worried about not having. Okay, like a driver's license, you get pulled over, you're in really big trouble for not having it. Okay. Aero works hand in hand. It's a tool that we use with, like, the PAVE checklist. One tells you if the airplane is legal. The other tells you and helps you decide whether it's smart to go flying. Okay, so use this every single time you go fly. So that's the end of this video. I hope you don't, or I hope you got. Well, that's the end of this video. I hope you got something out of this video and learned something maybe you didn't know. I always learn something every time I create one of these videos as I continue to buff up my knowledge and continue to review things. If you are a brand new student pilot, an experienced pilot brushing up on your knowledge, or just someone who loves aviation, this channel is here to help you fly smarter and safer. And well, if this video really helped you, you know what I'm going to ask. I hope you hit like, subscribe, maybe leave a comment with something that you learned, or maybe questions that you have, or maybe you have a correction for me, or if there's scenarios you'd like me to cover in future videos. Okay, so as always, like I say in each video, fly safe, and I'll see you in the right seat.